right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us in our November edition of Pitch Perfect here. Super excited to have a great panel of speakers today. So kicking things off, the presentation today may contain forward-looking information. So there can be no assurance that forward-looking information will prove to be accurate, as actual results and future events could differ materially from those anticipated in such statements. Accordingly, viewers should not place undue reliance on forward-looking information. With that in mind, we're now going to turn things over to Aggregate Intellect and Amir. So AI science is a self-organizing navigator that utilizes AI to make completing complex tasks easier. Amir, I think you've mentioned that you're joining from the car today, so I hope you're in safe hands right now. But would love to turn it over to you to deliver the pitch.
All right, so hopefully you can see my screen. Thanks everyone for being here, and I'm excited to tell you about what we are doing. Sorry that you can't see me very well. Trust me, I exist. So yeah, what we are building is not as delicious as what you just heard, but definitely very important to be built for humanity. We call this, a smart knowledge navigator, as Teresa said, or GitHub for technical knowledge for those who are familiar. Just very quickly, GitHub is the platform that developers use to share and collaborate on source code. And we believe that that is necessary for other types of knowledge as well. And that's exactly what we are building. So what is the problem that we're solving? Around 50% of AI projects fail. And that's, from a market report that came out a couple of years ago. And they associated a big part of this failure to talent. But the reality is that talent is a very limited pool. Like we have the developers that we have. So all we can do is really help them use their knowledge more efficiently. And this is a bigger problem because there is an influx of people from all sorts of backgrounds coming to AI and trying to use AI for, different types of applications. I'm sure the previous company at some point are going to start using AI to optimize some of their patterns, right? So, and the cost of this failure is about $60 billion a year, because we are spending about $120 billion a year on different types of AI applications. And that expenditure is growing at about 27% a year. So very, very large numbers and growing very, very rapidly. So that's a problem that needs to be tackled right now. So to give you a sense of why this problem exists and why now is the time to tackle it, this is a graph representing how much technical content is being produced, more specifically scientific papers in this case, but just generally all sorts of technical content that is being produced is growing at an exponential rate, while our ability, like the human capacity, the brain that we have, is able to consume this content at a very certain and constant rate. For the first time in history, we have AI that can read and understand documents, and then we can ask questions from that AI, and it answers all sorts of technical questions for us. So we are hoping to use this kind of technology to close the gap between the amount of content that is being produced and our ability to consume this information. And we have we have developed some technology ourselves, but we are also closely working with McGill University. We have 4 or 5 researchers there that are working on this technology for us, and we own all of the IP of that work. So in terms of, competitive landscape, there are a few different types of tools that people use. And, the trend through the market between 2004 and 2016 was to create a lot of tools that were disconnected, but, still allowed people to document their knowledge and share it with others. There are 2 new trends going on in the past 5 years or so, where some companies, some products have started creating so-called interlinked documentation, which means that, it is easier to link different types of knowledge that you have. And some companies are starting creating specialized search engines. And the product that we are building is actually in the overlap of these 2 very, very new trends, where we are using AI and other types of technologies to bring together a system that essentially learns how to answer technical questions. So how does this work? This is essentially it's a little complex, again, like not as delicious and easy to follow, but hopefully, when you hear some terms that you're interested to learn about, you go to Google and search it, or you take notes about it, or talk to friends about it. You're using a lot of different systems. So you're creating an integration layer into all of these systems so that we can monitor the type of research that you're doing. Then our AI essentially analyzes all of the information you're collecting and provides some sort of organization of this information. But importantly, as the end user, in our case, developers, can come in and say, what do we know about this topic? And then the machine is able to answer it using all of the information that was available to it. So do people actually need something like this? So we launched an MVP of this product last year, and we've been iterating on it. We have built a community of around 10,000 AI researchers and practitioners. And some of them started engaging with the product, and about 5,000 resources are managed through our platform. And we are getting very interesting feedback from people with important jobs and important degrees. In terms of is this a pressing enough problem for people to pay? Of course, like we're getting our initial validation around ICP, being data science teams, data science managers have given us around $10,000 worth of LOI so far. And this is based on a business model that is a freemium SaaS, some dollar value per seat per year. And this is a problem that exists in all sorts of R&D heavy areas. Our initial focus is on AI, as I said, but we can foresee fairly easily translate our technology to areas like cybersecurity, Web 3.0, quantum tech, eventually biotech, legal tech, etc. And that's the direction of market expansion that we're imagining. But even in AI alone, at our price point and the size of the population that exists, that initial target, the total available initial target is about $2 billion a year. The crowdfunding campaign is part of our larger campaign. We're aiming for about $1.5 million, and the use of it is mostly to get more devs and sales staff. And the next major milestone for us is launching our commercial feature, bringing in paid customers, and try to see if we can scale that. And here's the information if you're interested to talk to me more about this, amir@ai.science, or add me on LinkedIn or Twitter, or this is the QR code. Thanks for listening.
Fantastic. Thank you for the pitch, Amir. Thank you for joining from early morning. Did you say you're in Australia right now?
Yes, I'm in Melbourne.
Yeah, really appreciate you being here with us for sure. We are running a little long on the pitch, so do encourage anyone with questions to get their questions in now, and we'll tackle them through the Q&A. I know this can be a bit more of a complicated subject matter, at least it is for me and my understanding. So I would encourage people to actually watch the campaign video for Aggregate Intellect. They did a really great job of breaking things down in a very simple to understand way. And one of the things you highlight in that video, Amir, is just with the information overload that we have today, people inevitably end up down kind of rabbit holes of information. I've definitely experienced that myself. So how do you guys, through the tools that you've built, combat that?
Yeah, definitely. So, there are a few things, like when the reason that you end up in rabbit holes is that you don't know what you don't know, right? Like sometimes when you start searching, you type in a phrase that comes to mind in Google, and then you skim a few documents and then go back and modify that. And you repeat that a bunch of times, and then you start reading a document and you come across a term that you didn't know that you should. And then it is even hard for you to judge, is this a relevant thing that I should look up or not, right? So you then start opening a bunch of tabs. It is just a very, very inefficient process. Like I actually have a slide mapping out the process. Like this is actually the process that you go through on a typical, day when you're researching topics. This is extremely inefficient, which means that, you can't really do a good job finding information you're looking for. And the way we are dealing with that is that essentially we have our AI read all of the information and organize it so that you can just ask the question that you have. Like if you have a specific question, you just type it in, and the AI answers that question from across the documents that are available to you.
That's great. Definitely seems like it's a more efficient method to get what you need, which is what we all want. I know one of the things that you shared with me yesterday as well was just your participation in a new kind of accelerator incubator program for the company. So perhaps you could tell us a little bit about what that is and what that's going to mean for the business.
Yeah, definitely. So we actually have two interesting pieces of news there. One was that we got approved for a $360,000 government grant to carry out research with McGill University recently. And the second piece was Creative Destruction Lab, which is a very competitive accelerator for deep technology companies like ourselves who are developing, revolutionary products that will completely change some industries. And in our case, R&D in any industry is what we're going after, and that gives us access to talk to a lot of CEOs of successful companies, and they mentor us and help us figure out the business side of things as we go forward.
That's fantastic. Well, I'm just going to have a look here at the Q&A. So we've got more questions looking just at ROI. So definitely for any pertaining to exit strategy, recommend you guys reach out to the companies on their campaign pages. Unfortunately, we are at the end of Amir's 10 minutes here for the pitch. But yeah, Amir, really appreciate you joining today. Thank you for getting up so early while you're traveling and giving us all a great presentation. So really thank you for that. And for anyone with questions, do recommend you go visit their campaign page. And like I said, do watch their video. It really helps kind of simplify everything, particularly for those who are less technical like myself. So thank you very much today, Amir. All right, just as we wrap things up for today, wanted to share just a couple slides on getting started from FrontFundr in case there's anyone new to the session today. So FrontFundr is Canada's leading equity crowdfunding platform. We make it easy for all Canadians to invest in Canada's most exciting startups and growth stage businesses, just as you've seen from the pitches today. And typically we say from as little as $250, but as I mentioned, Persephone is raising at $100. So these opportunities are very accessible to everyone across Canada. We've done now over 100 raises, raising over $120 million. And we've, got an investor community of over 34,000 now. In addition to that, to get started, would recommend just visiting the website, frontfundr.com. You can go have a look at each of the individual campaign pages there and hit invest to get started. And if you have any questions throughout the process at all, we've got an online chat with our investor relations team, or you can reach out to support@frontfundr.com with any questions. So thank you to everyone for tuning in today. Really appreciate your time. Thank you to all of our fantastic panelists from today. You delivered great pitches. So nice to see you guys even interacting as businesses yourself and how you could perhaps work together in the future. So always love to see that. But yeah, like we said, it's really about community capital is what equity crowdfunding really stands for. So it's great to see the ways that these companies have incorporated the community into their business models as well. So thank you all for your time. Thank you for those who have attended, and we'll be back with another Pitch Perfect session, hopefully within the next month or two. So thank you very much, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.